A despicable, shameful scene in the United States Senate today, as President Obama's nominee to head the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department was voted down. 7 Democrats, these 7 senators you right now see on your screen, those individuals cravenly joined all of the Senate Republicans in voting against Debo Adegbile, a man who, by any reckoning, certainly mine, we've had him on our show, boasts a stellar resume for the job. Born in the Bronx, the son of an Irish mother and Nigerian father, raised by a single mom, his family battled not only poverty but homelessness too. And then Debo had a 9-year-long turn as an adorable child actor on the iconic Sesame Street. He rose to prominence while serving the legendary NAACP Legal Defense Fund for a decade as a civil rights lawyer of tremendous acclaim, defending the Voting Rights Act in front of the Supreme Court not once, but twice. Today, that man was voted down because of another man he once defended. Well, actually, no, that's not the whole story. The organization that Debo Adegbile worked for, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, represented a man on appeal who was convicted in 1982 amid much controversy of killing a Philadelphia police officer. That man, Mumia Abu-Jamal, was convicted when Adegbile was just a kid. And nearly 30 years later, Adegbile worked on the case for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund as it challenged in appeals the constitutionality of the jury's sentencing instructions in the Mumia Abu-Jamal case. And they won. The court ruled in favor of the NAACP LDF, which resulted in Abu-Jamal's death sentence being vacated. He is now serving life without parole. That single appellate representation was then transformed into the basest kind of demagoguery on Fox News.
Adegbile volunteered to help out this man, Mumia Abu-Jamal, who was convicted of murdering a Philadelphia police officer, Daniel Faulkner, in cold blood.
An ardent supporter of Black Panther and cop killer Mumia Abu-Jamal, a cop killer's coddler.
He has a very racial past and a racial history of pushing racial politics through actions inside the law.
This is somebody who represented a non-repentant cop killer.
You know what you just saw, right? And that worked, at least so far. But somehow, one can't help but wonder if this is a standard that only applies to a civil rights lawyer trying to head the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. Because as MSNBC.com's Adam Serwer points out, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts once offered pro bono legal representation on behalf of one of the most notorious serial killers in Florida state's history. A man who tricked his way into a woman's home, then bound and shot 8 people. 6 died. That man, John Errol Ferguson, then killed 2 teenagers on their way to church while under indictment. One of the men who wrote our Constitution and went on to become president defended in a court of law the British troops who fired on and killed Americans, because John Adams so strongly believed in the principle enshrined in the 6th Amendment that people have the right to defense. The president today responded with an uncharacteristically strong statement, calling the Senate's failure to confirm Adegbile, quote, a travesty based on wildly unfair character attacks against a good and qualified public servant. Mr. Adegbile's qualifications are impeccable. The fact that his nomination was defeated solely based on his legal representation of a defendant runs contrary to a fundamental principle of our system of justice. It most certainly does. So shame on all of you who voted it down.